And welcome back, rugby fans, Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is our Week 15 power rankings for the 2025 MLR season. Oh my god, it has been just amazing these last couple of weeks as we've been driving towards the playoff finish. We only have 2 weeks left of the season, and still everything is still up for grabs. Nobody has theoretically clinched a home pitch advantage in the number one or number two spots for either Eastern or Western Conference, which, especially with the way teams are playing, it's going to be so crucial, I feel, with the playoffs. I really do feel, and we'll talk about this obviously when we start doing some videos previewing the playoffs. I really have a sinking feeling that at least I feel maybe both representatives from the Eastern and Western conferences will be one of the one or two seeds. I don't think both teams will be the one seeds, but I will be shocked if a 3 or 4 seed team is playing in the championship game. It's going to be either one or two seed in the West or East because the home pitch is so crucial in these games. I don't think that's a really big take, but it's a take nonetheless. So regardless, there's been a lot of things going on, a lot of movement in our power rankings. We do have a new number one team once again, and it's still very, very exciting. Again, if you haven't seen my power ranking videos before, which, good lord, we're in week 15, where have you been? Again, it's all about what you do on the pitch, who you play against, who you beat, what kind of streak you're on too. If you're riding on a hot streak, you're probably working your way up. If you've been on a losing streak, you're probably slowly waking your way down. It's been pretty exciting. So let's get into it. Obviously, yet again, and I don't think this is going to change for this season, unfortunately. The bottom team is Anthem Rugby Carolina. Once again, losing this time to the Chicago Hounds, 33-19. Not really much to say about Anthem. Mitch Wilson, I gotta give a shout out to him. Played a really, really hard game in that. Also, unfortunately, there's news that one of their star rookies, the overall number one draft pick for the 2024 MLR draft, Eric Storty, unfortunately was announced to have suffered a season-ending injury. There's been a little bit of play right now on a short list of who is going to be Rookie of the Year for Major League Rugby. Eric Storty definitely is on that list, even regardless of now missing out on the last 3 weeks of the season. He's been very, very good. Unfortunately, Anthem has not. Again, I just don't feel they're going to get out of this bottom ranking. I believe they're playing against Utah and then I believe New England the very last week. So, unless for whatever reason either team, maybe New England, if they've clinched home pitch, it's not maybe out of the realm that they wouldn't go 100% with Anthem, but I don't know. I just really don't see Anthem winning a game to finish the season. There's a lot of high hopes. It looks like they might be the very first franchise in MLR history to go 2 seasons without at least one victory. Moving on, San Diego stays at number 10 because they're the only team with a bye. We'll be talking about San Diego a lot because, man, they have a lot of work to do in these last 2 weeks. Very crucial. In the Western Conference, nobody has been eliminated from the playoff picture just yet, but a lot can change in the next couple of weeks. Number 9. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do this. Number 9 and number 8. 2 teams that are pretty much sticking where they are. The NOLA Gold, who is a team that's on the brink of possibly being eliminated from the playoffs, losing to the Utah Warriors 31-28. A very, very close game. In that game, Utah scores. It was all Utah in the first half. Utah scoring 5 tries, including one from Liam Coltman, their hooker, who has been phenomenal for Utah. It's his first year with the Utah Warriors, first year in the MLR, 8th try of the season. NOLA did try to come back with a couple of tries from Jonah Mau, who has been just phenomenal for NOLA. This is his second year with the team, first year as captain, and he has been playing his heart out in the game. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, it was pretty much all Utah in the first half, including a try by Joe Hodgson, who also had a great game for himself. At the half, Utah up 31-14. But then Nola started coming back a little bit. Nola scoring a couple of tries. I mentioned a try by Jonah Ma'u. Unfortunately, Jonah Ma'u then did get a yellow card and also looked like he suffered an injury with the try. So we'll see how his status is in the next couple of weeks because he's going to definitely be crucial for the Nola team. But Nola actually got within 3. So 31-28 within the last closing minutes. But Utah's defense very, very strong to prevent Nola from getting that come from behind win. But Utah did not score a single point in the second half. So because of that, granted, Nola number 9, Utah coming off of the win. I didn't think that win was very good. So no justification on them moving up. So they stick here to number 8. Number 7. Again, a team that kind of had their way, but not necessarily the most impressive win over Anthem Rugby Carolina, 33-19. Now you look at the stat line, you're saying, hey, that's not a bad win. But to be honest, all of this was done pretty much in the first half. In the first half, Dylan the Butcher Foster scored his 8th try of the season, 64th of all time, still number 1, and by a very far margin. In the first half, Chicago already had 4 tries. In the second half, Anthem did get a couple of tries, and it did look like Chicago kind of took their foot off of the gas in the game. Anthem wasn't. I mean, you look at the scoreline, 33-19. Anthem wasn't in any chance of catching up, but again, a team like Chicago, that scoreline should have probably been a little bit bigger. It should be mentioned that Julian Dominguez scored a try in this game, his 32nd of his career, 5th overall. He's moved into the 5th spot, tied with Mikey Teo, phenomenal player, capped Eagle, who unfortunately has retired from Major League Rugby. Not necessarily entirely retired for rugby. I mean, who's really retired nowadays? But he has been retired at least for this season and from international competition. But Julian Dominguez, congratulations to you. 5th overall on tries scored in Major League Rugby history. Number 6, sliding down a couple of spots, surprisingly in a loss. Your reigning defending two-time MLR champion, the New England Free Jacks, losing to Old Glory DC at 17-20. It was a close game. And again, I always mention this, the rivalry between New England and Old Glory, which in this game has been called the Red, White, and Blue Bowl, apparently. And I don't know if it's true. There's been jokes about it, but apparently if you win this bowl, you have the rights to have that red, white, and blue color scheme, which both Old Glory and New England have. So there's been some graphics around that New England is now black and white. I don't know if that's an official thing, though. It's kind of cool concept if you think about it. But as I mentioned before, Old Glory really does play New England very tough, and they proved it in this game, edging out a win 17-20. In that game, we do have to mention Joseph Reese, who unfortunately was wheeled away from that game. I heard his injury is pretty severe. Prayers to him. Hopefully he recovers at least quickly enough to come back for next season. At the 15-minute mark, New England scores. It was a very, very low defensive game, 7-7 at the half. Minutes into the second half, Paulo Balacana, another scoring machine this season, scores his 10th try of the season, 41st overall. Old Glory, though, strikes back with a penalty kick from Jason Emery. I'll mention Jason Ewok Emery at the end because he was phenomenal for Old Glory, and to be honest, might have been the difference maker in this game. With a penalty kick from Old Glory, 17-12, they were up at the 50-minute mark. New England strikes back. Jed Melvin, who's been having a phenomenal game himself, ties the score 17-17. Jason Emery gets another penalty kick to take the score to 20-17 to take the lead. New England then gets a yellow card for the rest of the game. Despite that, they tried their hardest to prevent Old Glory from exceeding the score, but that yellow card did not allow New England the opportunity to score any, and therefore Old Glory holds on to that 2017 lead, and they win. I do have to mention again, as I said before, the kicking game might have made the difference. Jason Ewok Emery, a perfect 4 for 4 off of the tee, 2 conversions, 2 penalty kicks, 10 points total. Dan Hollinshead, who has been pretty good for New England, and congratulations to Dan. His family has been blessed with a new baby child. He is going to be leaving New England to take care of family business, might come back for the playoffs, but unfortunately, Hollinshead only 1 for 4 off the tee, 3 missed conversion points, 6 points. New England lost by 3. Might have made the difference in that game. Very close game again, but Old Glory gets the win. New England falls, as I mentioned, two slides down from 4th to 6th. Another game, which was a little bit of a weird game, kind of a defensive game, similar to the New England Old Glory game, but another stellar rivalry between Houston and Seattle. In this game, Seattle pulls off the win, 14-9. That forces Houston to slide down to number 5 from the number 2 spot all the way to 5. I didn't move Seattle very high because, again, in that game, it was very, very close. Seattle didn't look super dominant per se. They actually kind of stole the win at the end, and it was in Seattle too, so very hard to win in Starfire Stadium. And actually, until the very last 5 minutes, Houston could have won that game. Let's go over it. So again, very physical defensive game. Pretty much it was a kicking game in the first half. AJ Alatimu doing really well. He's been kind of struggling a bit for Houston, but he was able to score a couple of penalty kicks. Seattle does score, though, the one try in the first half by Nick Boyer, who ironically has played for not only Houston, but also for San Diego as well. He's been all over the place, a true journeyman. Now find himself in Seattle. So he scores. The score is 7-6 Seattle. In the second half, again, still pretty much a defensive game. AJ Alatimu gets a penalty kick, his 3rd of the game, and so that gave Seattle the lead 9-7 going into the last 5 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, Houston gets a yellow card, and that allows Seattle to score the winning try to steal the win, 14-9. So again, it could have went either way. The yellow card to Houston really hurt them. But Seattle didn't necessarily look dominant. But Seattle is a team that always does this. Seattle's being Seattle. They started the season 2-5, and now they are on a 5-1-1 in their last 7 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak as well. Seattle looking like one of the dangerous teams that you don't want to play in the playoffs. Again, I predicted in my way too early predictions, I thought Seattle was going to make it to the MLR Shield game. At the beginning of the season, I looked kind of dumb with that pick, but now Seattle's looking, like I said, really good. They have a habit of doing this. Seattle doing what Seattle does, and they are looking pretty good right now in that playoff race. But again, between Seattle, San Diego, and one other team that I'll be talking about, fighting for that one last playoff spot. It is going to come down to the wire. It is still, any team can make it. Any team could unfortunately be eliminated. So moving on, the next 2 teams had a hell of a game in LA at the Great Park in Orange County. We'll just say right now, our temporary home away from home. But Miami, who was the number 1 team, fell to LA at a great nail biter of a game, 26-20. I pushed LA up to the number 2 spot, coming from number 5 all the way to Miami drops down to number 3. In that game, Shane O'Leary, who has been phenomenal for Miami, was pretty good again. Kicking off of the tee, Shane O'Leary, no problem. For whatever reason, Miami's kicking game, and it wasn't just Shane O'Leary, but Miami's kicking game was really off during the game. There were several attempts to kick the try that the ball did not go out of the pitch. They stayed in. RFCLA, of course, did capitalize on that. LA scored 2 tries in the first half to take the lead, 12-10. In the second half, LA's defense was phenomenal. They limited Miami to just a penalty kick. Miami then did get a yellow card that allowed LA to score a try from Rory Van Voot, who's been quietly having a phenomenal season for LA. LA takes the lead 26-13. Unfortunately, near the end of the game, Miami was able to score to get the game 26-20. And then Miami having the ball in LA territory, LA making quite a few mistakes near the last half, especially a couple of silly penalties, allow Miami to stay in LA's red zone. With time running out, all that Miami had to do was just score to tie the game, possibly steal the win with the conversion kick. Fortunately, LA's defense that has been stout, bend but don't break defense really pulled off in the end. A knock on at the end by Miami, and I swear, again, I worked the game. We were all just screaming our heads off at that, and LA was able to pull the win, beating a very, very dangerous Miami team. I gotta say, the Miami and LA rivalry, because both teams coming in from last season, is starting to look like a pretty good rivalry between two teams that really want to make a name for themselves as being the new kids on the block and establishing themselves as playoff-bound teams. The win, of course, for LA, very, very important to keep our playoffs hopes alive. Miami, unfortunately, they had to win that game to make the playoffs, so they are denied, at least for now. They still have a shot to make the playoffs next weekend. But, again, it could be pretty close as we get to the last couple of weeks of the season. And as mentioned before, a new number one, no other than Old Glory DC, pulling off the win over New England. Now, granted, again, New England could have won that game. It was a very, very close game. But Old Glory did pull off the win, an impressive win. I wanted to give LA, full transparency, I wanted to give LA the number one spot, but I didn't feel that this win, which Miami easily could have won, I didn't feel it was justifiable enough for LA to jump over Old Glory. And granted, again, Old Glory could have lost to New England as well. But Old Glory was higher up in the rankings. It just made sense to shift them just up. So Old Glory takes in the one spot. LA stays at 2. But yeah, it definitely sets up now for a very interesting 1 versus 2 of my power rankings in next week action, as LA has to go over to DC to take on Old Glory. And again, still a lot riding on that game. I'll go more into details on that in my preview video for week number 16, because yeah, almost every game there is something riding on, whether it is to make the playoffs, to not be eliminated from the playoffs, or just to maintain a home pitch advantage, which again, I can't stress enough, I really do feel very, very important as we head into the playoff picture. Now, let's go over our SuperBru Pickem, and man, that's also been exciting. It's been coming down to the wire. We still have quite a few people that could easily win the title of our SuperBru Pickem winner. But let's talk about who was the winner of the week. John, congratulations from Rugby Morning. I believe this is his second golden cap. He picked it up. Unfortunately, the wooden spoon went to one of our former champions, All J Long. Got the wooden spoon. Rugby Morning John got 7 points out of a possible 14. Right behind them, tied for second, 2 people, Sarai. Never know how to pronounce it. 6.25, and then the reviewer 812, who always tends to pop up here and there, he also got 6.25, and then tied for 4th place, Julie EGW and KDC with 6 points each. Now, how does this affect our overall ranking? As you see, Sarai, with that high ranking, is able to just edge a little bit higher than Julie EGW. So that makes the separation. Julie EGW and Sarai were tied last week for 1st place. Now, Sarai is now a quarter, exactly a 0.25 of a point ahead of Julie EGW. So literally, it still could be either one of their game. Then, just behind them, USA League and Union Rugby fan, that's Coop. He is 3rd, just a 1.5 behind both Julie EGW and Sarai. And then number 4, right behind Coop, is Rugby Morning John. And then, hey, Look who's number 5, jumping up 2 spots, is yours truly, Dogmine. Though I'm a little further away, I'm 5 points behind John. And then I do have to give a shout out to Lady Juliet, who is literally just a 10th of a point behind from me in 6. So, both Lady Juliet and myself, we're technically not out of it. If we can have a phenomenal week, we could easily jump up a couple of spots. But really, between Sri Sarai, Julie GW, USA League, and Union Rugby Fan Coop, and John from Rugby Morning, those four individuals are fighting tooth and nail for that number 1 spot, and we only have 2 weeks left. It could be anybody's game, and technically it could be somebody else. It could be myself, it could be Lady Juliet. One of us could possibly jump if we're really, really good in these final 2 weeks, but man, especially the last week, especially if things already kind of get solidified, then it's almost like NFL action where week number 18 is kind of almost like a shot in the dark, because you don't know what teams really are trying at that point. So lots to be said, lots still up for grabs. So with that being said, that is our video for the week. Again, I'm excited. There's a lot still to play for. Honestly, if you were to tell me this was our top 4 nearing the end of the season, I'd be shocked. I mean, I'm ecstatic, of course, because of, RCLA, but man, to say Miami would be that high, to say Old Glory, and Seattle just kind of teetering, but they had to fight their way back up. So it's exciting. But again, these next 2 weeks, a lot could happen. And again, I will be doing my preview video right after this, so be on the lookout for that. As always, thank you very much for checking out my videos. I always appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the pitch.